So, sir, as per the previous discussions, you had mentioned that the actual Ramayana or the related narration happens in the Western Saryu sections, correct?
Eastern.
Eastern.
Yeah.
So the actual current Ayodhya where we have that is the
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
narrative
Yes.
section.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the story associated with the Western Saryu, sir? The Ṛgvedic Saryu.
Yes.
Is there
Correct.
any
Correct.
story associated?
Yeah. So, in the previous talk, I mentioned Ramayana and the poet associated with Ramayana, Valmiki, everybody have they're familiar with the Eastern geography. So, they are only familiar with Sri Rama, Sri Rama's father, Dasharatha's father, Aja. And beyond that, their familiarity is very less. The Valmiki's familiarity with the three generation, Aja, Dasharatha, and Rama. After that, other things are very. Valmiki has no very less knowledge, etc. So in the Valmiki Ramayana, you more or less see the Eastern Ikshvakus, and they do start the story with Sagara because Sagara is the the kind of king from which the branching happened. Like the Eastern Ikshaku branch originated from Sagara. So that is why in the Adi Kanda of Balakanda of Ramayana, the things start with the Sagara. Also, everything is mentioned, and their Western cousins who migrated before them. So even the Sagara's son Asamanja is there who actually throw the children into Sarayu River. Of course, then this Sarayu, whenever this Sarayu is mentioned, they are talking about the Saraswati River. So because they were living in that Saraswati region. So Sagara son Asamanja threw the children of the citizen into the Sarayu River, that is the Saraswati River, because of which Sagara punished Asamanja and banished him from the kingdom. And he didn't become king. Then Sagara's son, Asamanja's son, that is grandson of Sagara, Amshuman, become the king. And of course, in that, before Amshuman becoming king, all the, this, there is a narrative about one horse sacrifice and the horse going underground and digging, etc. happened. So the digging basically at the surface of it, they mentioned about digging the surface for getting the horse, but actually it is a dry up condition happening in the dried up condition happening in the Saraswati, that region where Sagara's kingdom existed, to the south of the Kurukshetra region. Currently, it is called the place called Vinashana. That is where the Saraswati dried up. So in that region, Sagara has his kingdom, and that kingdom once because the river dried up, there was no water, etc. So that is why it is mentioned there is not even water for giving for the final rites of his sons who got all burned to ashes. So Kapila Rishi is mentioned as burning all the sons of Sagara into ashes. So this all indicate a dryness kind of a situation. Uh, the kind of a dry situation wherein the poet is indirectly telling to you that no, even the Sagara's sons got completely burned out because of the dry conditions. And see, of course, the Sagara son means the subjects of, they mentioned 60,000 sons of Sagara. So 60,000, nobody will have 60,000 sons. Basically, this is a citizenry of the kingdom. Around 60,000 people were the part of the kingdom. They all got hungry and they all died. And there is even not even water for giving Udaga, the final rites of these people. This is all get captured in this narrative of Sagara. And as a result of it, Amshuman moved eastwards in search of a new river. Amshuman started becoming king and he moved and established along Yamuna River. That is why the river is called Amshumati. So you can see this, the slow migration is happening, right? From Saraswati to Yamuna, there is a migration. And Sagara's son Amshuman is associated with the river Yamuna. And because of which the river Yamuna got a new name called Amshumati. And then, if you look at this Amshuman's son Dilipa is mentioned as searching for Ganga. That means they want to go a little more eastward and much more better river called Ganga to the east of Yamuna River. So Dilipa tried for all these things, but he was not successful, and then he died. And he gave the before death he gave that entire mission to his son Bhagiratha. And Bhagiratha is mentioned as succeeding in, the poet says succeeded in bringing Ganga, but actually he went to Ganga. He shifted his kingdom to Ganga. That is what poet says Bhagiratha brought Ganga. Because a river doesn't move along with when people are walking. River will not follow the people walking. So naturally, the poet is hinting that opposite of it. That is, Bhagiratha moved towards the river and he established on Ganga. So you see migration. Saraswati, Sagara and Asamanja in Saraswati, and next generation Amshumadi, that is Yamuna. Next generation Diliba trying to be part of Ganga but failing. So he may be in midway between Yamuna and Ganga. And Bhagiratha, the next generation, becoming established in Ganga. And then Raghu is there, a descendant of Bhagiratha. He is very much associated with the Gomati river. That is why Raghu is mentioned as taking care of a cow. Gomati means rich in cow. So Raghu Amsha, if you look at Raghu, is very much mentioned as taking care of a cow, as a result of which he got a son. Raghu got a son. Raghu is associated with the cow and Gomati. And next stage, no, we don't, some lineage between Raghu and Aja is lost. We don't have good clarity. The data is not very clear because some spurious kings are added into Ramayana, but we cannot be reliable on that. So there is but last, that Aja is ruling in Ayodhya city. Aja's son Dasharatha is ruling in Ayodhya, and Sri Rama is ruling in Ayodhya. So last destination was Ayodhya, that is Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh, which is in the eastern Sarayu. So there is nothing. I am not saying that the Ramayana events occurred in the western side. It is completely occurred in the eastern side. But I am saying there was a migration from Saraswati region during the period of Sagara and Asamanja, and then slowly their subsequent generation, Amshuman in Yamuna, Diliba in between, and Bhagiratha in Ganga, Raghu in Gomati river, and finally Aja in Sarayu river along Ayodhya. All this happened, and this aligns very well with the archaeology, where the dates are very low. Saraswati, you get 8000 BC, and in Ayodhya, you get 2000 or 1750 BC, etc. So the archaeology very much aligned with whatever I'm saying. The Ayodhya city is not very old, compared to Pirana or Akikari. Ayodhya, which is 8000 BC and 6000 BC. Ayodhya city is not as old as that. It is only 2000 BC or 1700 BC. That is the age of Ayodhya city. And exactly the same thing you get from archaeology today. That all the archaeological dates are falling around 1750 BC, etc. I am myself on my own risk. I am saying it can be 2000 BC because there are corrections possible in archaeology. As a matter of 300 years is normal correction, we can say, without exaggeration. So that is about Ramayana and Rama and Ayodhya. So I am not changing the position of Ayodhya. Everything is in the Sarayu. Sarayu river of Rama is same Sarayu river in Uttar Pradesh. Ayodhya city of Rama is same Ayodhya city in Uttar Pradesh where the temple is established. So absolutely not difference change in that.
Got it.
Now
Thank you, sir.
few lines I want to say because most of things on the eastern side. So in the western side, Ramayana is not very much familiar with it, but there was Rigveda captures it very well. And Rigveda mentioned two kings who are the western Ikshwagos. They are the Purukutsa and Prasadasyu. They are two kings, so you can consider them as as famous as Dasharatha and Rama, because Purukutsa was a father, Prasadasyu was a son. So they are like Dasharatha and Rama, very famous, but of course not in Ramayana, but only in the Rigveda. Because Prasadasyu is mentioned as one of the big supporter of the Bharatas or the Purus, basically hinting at Samvarna Bharata, the ancestor of Kuru, Pradhipa, Shantanu, and Kauravas and Pandavas. That Samvarna. So Prasadasyu was a great friend of that Samvarna Bharata. And other thing is that this same Prasadasyu, because data is very spare in Rigveda, so it could be a sister of Prasadasyu or a cousin of Prasadasyu. Tapati become the wife of Samvarna. And jointly, this particular Samvarna and his lineage kings, they and Prasadasyu together fought so many battles. They together made many Dasyus to flee to the west. All these things happened. So information about the western side kings, western Ikshaku kings, instead of they are getting recorded in the Rigveda, because I mean, by this particular class, you may be knowing that Rigveda is slightly focusing on the side which is starting from western Uttar Pradesh to Afghanistan. So that is the focus area of Rigveda. So naturally, Rigveda is very famous with the western side kings, like Ikshvaku kings, like Trasadasyu and Purugutsa. So many other kings are there. I have mentioned maybe I think more than six kings in that same lineage I mentioned in the my book in the rivers of Rigveda. And of course, one point I missed is this Trasadasya and Purugutsa, they are Western Ikshvakus, but Rigveda has a term for it, because Western Ikshvaku is my terminology, right? Rigveda mentioned them as Trikshis. And in the Ramayana, there are three characters, three people who are associated with the Trikshi lineage. One is Tarksha. Tarksha means the descendant of, I mean, belonging to the Trikshi lineage. Now, that is the meaning of Tarksha. Tarksha means what? Garuda. So Garuda is frequently seen in the Ramayana, like helping Sri Rama, sometimes helping Sri Rama. But of course, poetically described as a bird, etc. But Garuda's synonym is Tarksha, because that means he belongs to the Trikshi lineage. And even in the Ramayana, this Asamanjana, the main advisor who advised this what is it, Amshuman, that is a grandson of Sagara, to search for water in Ganga, the eastern river Ganga. That was Garuda himself. That is Trikshi lineage. So some advisor from Trikshi lineage asked the eastern Ikshvakus to migrate to some other river, just like they have done. Because the Trikshi is also a similar situation. When there was a dry up further in the southern side of this Sarayu River, they also migrated westward and identified another Sarayu River as a tributary of Sindhu in the northwestern region. So maybe because of that, they were advising Asamanja to go eastwards, search for another river. Basically, that is inside. And again, in Ramayana, you see Garuda as another one person who is mentioned as Tarksha, and two other peoples, Jatayu and Sampati, who are mentioned in the same lineage of Garuda. So they are also Tarkshas. They are also Western Ikshvakus. And very interestingly, there is a dialogue between Jatayu and Rama, where Jatayu says, I am your father's cousin, Dasharatha's cousin. So, of course, Ramayana Valmiki doesn't give any explanation like how can Jatayu be a cousin or friend of Dasharatha. But since we know about this particular ancestry, that the Takshas or the Trikshis are the Western Ikshvakus, and Rama and Dasharatha are Eastern Ikshvakus, and so they have a very remote kinship between each other. That is a kinship which is expressed indirectly, where it says Jatayu is a cousin or a friend of Dasharatha. And so that is one important point, which also again connects Ramayana and Mahabharata and Rigveda.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question regarding the Takshyas.
Huh?
So we have Avestan books that have been recorded from the Western point of view, right? Some of
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Do we have any reference about Tarkshya in their literature, sir? Avestan literature?
Yeah, see, the word directly, the word Tarksha is not there. But some of the kings belonging to these lineages are mentioned with some different names, pronunciation. That I mentioned in the my book. Some of the enemies, yeah, because the Indra worshipping people are enemies for the this Avestan people. So Ambarisha again, yeah, I forgot to say, Ambarisha also a Western Ikshvaku king. Ambarisha is not an Eastern side king. So Ambarisha is mentioned in Rigveda, and Ambarisha and some other people fought a battle, that a battle of Sarayu. In that battle of Sarayu, some of the people are killed. So this is that names of the people are recorded both in the Avesta as well as in the Rigveda. If I remember, the names are Arna and Chitraratha, etc. Some names. So that Chitraratha, etc. is captured in the Avestan text. The Battle of Sarayu is reflected both in the Ṛgveda as well as in the Western text. So both the text name the actual people who are part of the conflict, Ambarisha and others, on both the sides, like whoever died, all these who were victorious, whoever died, all these things are mentioned, and both are getting reflected as if it's a very clear historical event which is recorded in both the Western text and the Rig Veda. Shall we close here? Because I think we are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can close.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you everyone for joining us. Let's wind up the session with a Shanti mantra. ॐ लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम्